I used to think that lifestyle and the way we're living our lives was the cause of most of our health problems. And I still do, but I've evolved my views on that. So if I could just take you through that, I think that might be the best way to answer your question. So a few years ago, my very first book outlined what I considered to be the 4 pillars of health: food, movement, sleep, and relaxation. And at that time, and I still maintain this, I will say that 80 to 90% of what a medical doctor like me sees in any given day is in some way related to our collective modern lifestyles. Okay, I'm not putting blame on people. I understand that many people have tough lives. What I'm trying to illustrate through that is this idea that the conditions that we suffer with in modern Western society, most of these things do not exist in traditional societies, okay? So it's very clear to me that our modern ways of living, and we can look at that in a multitude of different ways, is resulting in the health issues that many of us are struggling with. Yes, obviously things like type 2 diabetes and obesity, but also like stress, burnout, anxiety, depression. All these things, in my view, are natural consequences of the way that we're living. So I've always tried to say, guys, listen, you don't need perfection in any one of these 4 areas, but you do need to pay attention. Now, I still maintain that food, movement, sleep, and relaxation are 4 core pillars of health. But over the last few years, I've realized that they're not the core root causes. You can go further upstream. Because often our behaviors, let's say our food choices, they're downstream from other upstream factors. So I believe our mindset, the way we interact with adversity, our beliefs about the world and what the world is, influence our behaviors. And yes, I'm sort of heavy into this health and wellness space with all of my work. I think this is a missing pillar in health and well-being that we're not talking about. We think that what people need is more external knowledge, okay? Some people do. But Andre, what I've really come to realize is in this world where we're being bombarded with information now, there's more health podcasts and health information online than at any time in history. And the number of these blogs and articles and books is growing. Yet despite all this knowledge, people are sicker than ever before. Physical health problems are on the rise. Mental health problems are on the rise. So I've been thinking over the last few years, what's going on here? There's more and more knowledge. Everyone says that knowledge is power. Yet despite the increased knowledge, it's not translating, certainly across society, to better health. What's going on there? And I think back to my patients, which patients truly transform their lives for good, not for a few weeks or a few months. Anyone can do that. Who made a fundamental change in how they saw themselves in the world and changed the way that they live and therefore changed their health. And you have to go further upstream than food, movement, sleep, and relaxation, in my view. Our behaviors are very much belief-driven. And until we go and examine ourselves and our inner beliefs, because most of our beliefs are things that we didn't come out of our mother's womb with these beliefs, right? We have developed these beliefs based upon our lived experiences, based upon our culture, what our teacher said at school. And so what I'm passionate about these days, and I say that as a so-called expert, is that we need to stop relying so much on external experts outside of ourselves and start trusting our instincts a little bit more. Go inwards. We need internal knowledge. We need self-awareness. We need insight. And the reason I believe that so many people are confused with what they should do now. I don't know if you get this on your show, Andre. I very commonly get comments or people contacting me in DMs on Instagram saying, hey, listen, Dr. Chatterjee, I love your show. But that guest that you had a few weeks ago, they had all the credentials, but they were promoting this kind of diet. And they gave me evidence as well to support that. But then last week, you had this other expert who also had the credentials from a top institution, and they also quoted research, but it was a different diet. Dr. Chatterjee, I don't know which expert I should trust. Can you help me? And I've really reflected on that, André. And I've come to the conclusion that they're asking the wrong question. I don't think the question should be, which expert should I trust? I think the more helpful question, the more powerful question is, why do I no longer trust myself? Because I passionately believe, let's take diet for to make it really practical for people. We know when we're on the right diet for us. I really believe that. You can listen to experts, and I encourage people, listen to experts, but then put them through your own filter and experiment. If you're getting confused by two people, but you like their message, I would say, you know what? Why not for 4 weeks, you try one of their approaches, and whilst you're trying it, you pay attention. What is your energy like? What are your relationships like? How calm do you feel? What is your digestion like? What is your gut like? Okay, you've paid attention. You've been present with yourself. And then for the next 4 weeks, try the other expert's approach. And again, ask yourself the same questions. And I guarantee, in 95% of instances, you will know when you're on the right diet for you. And I think this is where we're going wrong with health and wellness personally. And I really feel that, most people who are drinking too much alcohol and it's having an impact on their health, they kind of know that. They don't need another podcast telling them the problems with increased alcohol intake. They kind of already know that. What they need is not more external knowledge. They need an awareness of their inner drivers. Why do I keep going back to alcohol? I mean, we're talking about like how we view ourselves before. If you are truly in alignment with who you are as a human being, and your external actions start to match up with your inner values, I believe you naturally make healthy choices in your life. I've experienced it myself, and I've seen it with countless patients, that poor quality choices in their life come when there's a misalignment. Because when you're not being who you really are, you create a fracture inside, an internal fracture. And in that gap, you will engage in whatever you need to fill that void. That could be sugar, alcohol, pornography, online gaming, 3 hours doom scrolling Instagram, whatever it might be. Those things are symptoms. And we're trying to change our behaviors by going, I'm having too much sugar. I need to cut down. I'm spending 3 hours on Instagram every night. I know I shouldn't do, but I can't help it. We keep trying to change the behaviors, but the behaviors are downstream. We have to go upstream. And what I often say to my patients in January, and again, let's use the example of alcohol. So many people, André, in January will stop drinking alcohol for 30 days, and they can do it. But many of them, by the end of February, will be back to where they were before. Why? I've seen this with so many patients. I used to ask myself, why? They've quit for 30 days. They've experienced the benefits in their life. They've got more energy. They're more present with their partner. Their sleep is better. All these kind of things are better. But we keep getting told that knowledge is power. That's all we need. We need knowledge. But they've got the knowledge. They've even got the lived experience. But then they revert back. And I would scratch my head and go, why? Why do they have the knowledge? Why have they lived it? They felt better. And why have they gone back? And it's because they haven't gone to the root cause of why they're engaging in that behavior in the first place. So very simply, if your alcohol consumption is your way of managing the stress in your life, you've got two options. If you really want to change that behavior, you either have to reduce the amount of stress in your life, and then you'll have less need for that alcohol, or you need to find an alternative behavior to alcohol to manage that stress. So that's kind of how I'm seeing health and well-being these days. I want to help people become the architects of their own health and happiness. And the only way you can do that is by becoming your own expert. You have to go inwards and figure out what are your own internal triggers. If you can do that, your life will effortlessly start to change. I've seen it in patients, and I really have experienced it myself.